Let's hear what I got to say. I got.
All right. The sports scenario, Matt. We had to do it. We had to do it. We had to do it. Man, we're doing it live. So this is impetus for you all to join the SOC Sports and Culture Group. You need to be jumping in there, talking to us, chopping it up with us. So if you're listening on the audio or YouTube, jump into the group, SOC Sports Culture Group. Jump in. Let's have this discussion. But let's go into it. We gonna dive right in. Matt Whitener.
What up?
Deion Sanders, primetime, has decided to leave Jackson State and go to the Colorado Buffaloes.
Hey, I'm going to say it must be the money. and I ain't mad at him for it. You know what pays really good? And you know what's got really great job security? Going to an awful Division I school that's going to throw you the bag for success you've had in a whole different situation. I love it. I'm happy for the brother. Let's just get that out the way in the very first thing. I'm happy for the brother.
Yeah, no, I'm happy for him too, man. I mean, I'm a primetime fan. I can't root for Buffalo, Colorado at all, just for previous ties to the Big 12. But I get it. I get it, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, here's the thing. And I'm just going to throw this at you, and you tell me what your thoughts about it are off top. Like, is there limitations to when we can root for everything that's black? Like, we say we're rooting for everything that's black. I see that all over the internet. It's a misleading statement in my book, but hey, it is what it is. But I feel like what I'm seeing right now is that it was all good to root for Prime when Prime was doing something that we thought was ultra black. But now I'm getting some waves and some sentiment that there's a little bit of Prime sold us out right now. And for that, I got some concerns, and so I definitely got some commentary.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Prime. Prime did what he has to do at J State. He went in there, he changed the culture, he did everything. And with last episode of the scenario, we talked about that Prime was going to Prime. Like, that was just what it was going to be. You thought this was going to be a different situation or anything along those lines. But I get it from a certain perspective of like, oh man, I just hope he would have built it up. But then on the other counterpart, like, what it couldn't have been, like, what more could have been situations? If you get the read behind the tea leaves and dig into it, he gave back money to the university to pay for his assistants. So most of those assistants are going with him to Colorado that weren't getting any money, any bread for real. He looked at the facilities. He looked at a lot of different things along there. And maybe he was like, you know what, for me to take it to this next level, this next step, I'm going to go to Colorado and I can ball out and go 8-4 every year and I'm going to be straight. Like 8-4, 75 and be straight.
He could turn Colorado into the Mizzou of the Pac-10 and be straight.
Yep.
Like, this is what it is. Expectations at Mizzou are to be a 8-win team or so. That's a good year. 9, you start feeling great. 10, you start wondering what's going on. At least,
right. You start thinking that the hammer's gonna come down at 10. You start thinking like, what do we do?
Yeah, but here's the thing. I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna talk about the football side, then we can talk about the cultural side on the other side of that. So when you look at the football side of what Prime has done, what he's done is proven himself to be a phenomenal recruiter. Just a phenomenal recruiter. He goes against the number 1 player in the country to go and commit to Jackson State, which is incredible. It says something about Travis Hunter, who's the cornerback that he's got out there, that he was willing to go and do that against, all sorts of other offers he had on the table. But he went to go play with Deion because he believed in what he was putting out, and all intents and purposes, what Deion was putting out was legit. Here's what I know about Deion Sanders as a coach. Number 1, he wins. That's what matters. He wins. Number 2 is that he's holding them student athletes accountable to how they behave and how they act and what they go about and what they represent when they represent the program he's tied to. I think that as a parent, what Deion puts out looks incredible, and it looks like the right thing to have your kids be a part of. So, like, when you got those two things around, that's good for the university, that's good for the players, but that's also good for the that coach as well. If everybody wins in that situation.
Yeah, we got a comment from the group. It's apples and oranges. The facilities and his assistants getting paid was the biggest factor.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. And here's the thing I'm not going to do. I'm not going to demonize Jackson State for what they can and what they can't do. It's not new news that we know that there's limited resources at HBCUs. It's one of the biggest issues that I have with the entire situation is that we need to, if we're going to really be about, wearing sweatshirts and putting it over and making it be like, like the new age cross colors. Here's the thing it needs to be. We need to be putting your dollar behind it. I say anything that you believe in, you should put your dollar behind, not just represent it, not just wear it on you. Put your dollar behind it if it's something that's a driver and it's something that's passionate for you. That's just it.
So we got a comment from Twitter. It won't pop up on the screen here, but it says, "Do I need to send back all my Jackson State stuff I was getting for Christmas?"
I don't know. Do you, or do you want to continue to support the program? Here's the thing: is everybody is rocking Jackson State stuff now? Go throw on Colorado gear? I got a hard time believing that. Hey,
shout out to the brothers of Alpha Alpha that they may throw it on, and it's the Founders Day today, so they might throw it on, throw the Buck stuff on.
I mean, that was an extra fact I don't care about, but it is what it is. Now, shout out to my guys, man. Congratulations on y'all Founders Day, man, and enjoy it. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if it travels. So, the question I have about that is, and this is kind of a bridge to the cultural conversation: is it about Deion? Is Deion the brand? Is Jackson State still the brand? And does Colorado benefit from Prime in a way like Jackson State did as well?
Shout out to us, somebody in the Facebook group that threw up the sign. I'm assuming this is Focus Archibald.
Hey, y'all be out here. If you're a St. Louis Alpha, y'all be out here today and come spend some money at the Noops event at the Four Seasons. We got y'all. I got a drink for each one of y'all to pop in.
Hey, man, shout out to me. Listen, we just decided to do this impromptu. It's 7 people in here already live.
See, he's activating me on very petty rivalries that I'm not even a part of.
We lost one just because of that comment. Well, no. I want to stay at the football for a second. What do you think he can do at Colorado in the Pac-12 coming up and within that scenario of that situation with USC and UCLA leaving?
Well, my thing about it is that the Pac-12 is going to be.
Oh, hold on. We said U City black and gold, so I may have to cop some, and I'm riding with Prime from wherever.
Love, baby. I love it. Hey, I got a lot of. I said the whole thing. My color scheme only changed when I became the Noops, man. I got black and gold Mizzou, black and gold U City. It's all good. I got plenty of that in the closet. But when you talk about the football thing, what's the impact? I think that's going to be really interesting. Immediately, what's the impact going to be? What players are going with Prime? So, what guys has he recruited that are at Jackson State that are going to go with him? Because not only is this his opportunity, that's very well could be theirs too. So what does that look like? Does his son stay? Does Hunter go? Is people that were committing to Jackson State that, we're in the middle of high school signing day right now too. Deion moving when he has got a big opportunity to impact the wave of how recruiting goes as well. Because I truly believe, take the context of it aside, Deion has proven himself to be one of the most effective recruiters in America, regardless of level of play. So how does that carry over into the Power 5 side of things? I think that's going to be real interesting, and that's going to answer the questions about how quickly Colorado becomes something of a force or not.
Yeah, it's going to be Colorado's. I mean, and the transfer portal opens on Monday. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that you could say, all right, he made that move right around then.
Yeah, he made, and here's the thing about it too, is Colorado hasn't been relevant for a while, but it's not like Colorado doesn't have some precedence of being good in football either. Colorado, if I'm not mistaken, might be able to look this up. Colorado won the national championship in 91 and 92?
Yeah. I mean, wasn't that the five downs against Mizzou that year?
Well, we didn't have to reference it that way, but yes, that was that. Yeah, that I do believe that was the same year. Cordell Stewart was in that situation. But so I think that Deion could most definitely make Colorado into a relevant program in an area of college football that's not really. I mean, who's the driver out there right now? I mean, what is it? Utah, Oregon, Washington State. They're strong. But yeah, I think Prime here's my thing. I give him two years to really show how quickly he can impact the talent level out there. I think that's important to pay attention to as well.
Yeah, I'm jumping in here and jumping into the chats on Facebook so I can actually see who's comment before I can give them their props. But what do you think that anything else that what people would see in general with the culture wise? How do you think this can shift the culture?
As far as which part of the culture? As far as the culture in Colorado or the culture for
Let's go. Let's
HBCU
go.
football or
Colorado
like
first,
what?
then we do Jackson State.
So Colorado first. I mean, I think it just goes back to what we just said. I think that it's going to be an interesting power dynamic shift if Deion can still have the same recruiting ability he's had there. Because I mean, Colorado's at the bottom. You know, what I mean, he's going to have plenty of time to figure it out. Colorado is at the bottom right now. They went 1-11 this year. You know, I mean, it is what it is. It's not like he's jumping to a program where there's a whole lot of pieces and parts.
Shut it was Matt, your brother Matt Oates that threw up the as I go into the Facebook. That was Matt that threw up the
ice. The ice. He threw the ice up at me. It's good. It's love, man. Them my people right there, man.
And Chaz Murphy is the one that commented on the U City.
And that's my brother. So we got a lot of the right folks checking in this morning.
So let's jump back into the comments here. E Rich, I'm gonna throw you up here on the same thing, but I'm gonna read it. How long do you think he stays at Colorado, and where does he go next?
Man, it's hard to talk about it next when we haven't even seen what happens at Colorado. I mean, I don't see Prime leaving Colorado like imminently or anything like that. I mean, but again, I mean, he's still technically working at Jackson State right now, right? Or does he work at Colorado as of today? Like, it's real hard to figure out what that means so far. But Colorado, it's not a destination job. I mean, he could very well continue to ascend. For Prime, honestly, I think it really comes down to how long does Prime want to coach? Because again, this ain't a dude that's hurting for no money. This ain't a dude that's like in need of anything. Like, this is my biggest debate. I think we talked about this on the show last week. Is that for me, the thing is about is Prime in it for the love of competition? Because I don't think he's in it for the money. Is Prime in it because he really wants to coach? Is it in it for deep reasons? Those are the only things that Deion can answer himself. You know what I mean? Because like Deion's making money no matter what. Deion is on the cover skin for Madden right now. Like Deion is still getting bread. So I think it's about what drives him and what his interest is at, honestly.
Yeah, so shout out this John Ashley jumping in here to the chat. He says Pac-12 might be an easy picking for him.
I think absolutely. I think that if you're going to look at any conference to, I guess get your feet wet as a Division I coach, yeah, the Pac-12 is the way to go if you want to be a Power 5 guy. I think we talked about it this week. I thought SMU was an interesting option.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's
Florida.
A Division I school that's right there, but I mean, the checks are big, the boosters are big. Like Prime's going to have a different type of machine behind him in Colorado that he didn't necessarily, it's not going to be as much about him doing it and him having to put his cash into the facilities and stuff like that. Prime's money's not keeping up with the booster money at Colorado. I know that much.
So this is from Matt Oates. He says the Pac-12 is still considered a power conference of the parts of USC and UCLA. Then Colorado is a great landing spot. Utah just won the conference, and so the barrier to entry to the college football playoff will not be impossible, like going to the Big Ten or SEC. And
then the thing about it is that another great point there by Oates is that we're about to see the field expand now too, right? So I mean, you're going to have 12 teams that are going to be a part of it. Like it's going to be a bigger thing. And one thing we know about the college football playoff is it's not beyond them to want to get a notable fringe university in. I thought they might play with the math today and figure out a way to get Bama into the playoff this year, but
it may happen still.
It didn't happen. They named it already.
They did. Okay.
The 4 in. They named it about 15 minutes ago. So Ohio State went in at 4, TCU stayed at 3, and then 1 and 2 stayed the same with Michigan and Georgia. But
they was trying to make it happen though.
Oh man. I always keep an eye out for Notre Dame. If Notre Dame's got 8 wins, I always figure there might be a way for them to sneak in. And I know good and well that Bama probably would have done the same thing. But I didn't want to hear the rest of the country crying when there's 2 Big Ten teams and 2 SEC teams in either. So
yeah. So shout out to your pops, man. This is from your pops. I think it's developing a coaching tree.
I mean, that's got to be something that comes out of it. If you've got folks there. I mean, coaching trees. But here's the thing about coaching trees. Coaching trees are a byproduct of success. You have to have success to have a coaching tree. So, I mean, that's just is what it is. Like, you don't see a whole lot of coaching trees for like Dennis Allen. There's not a Dennis Allen coaching tree or nothing like that. Like, Bill Belichick got a coaching tree. You know what I'm saying? Pete Carroll develops a coaching tree. Andy Reid, people like that. But so, we're going to see. But I think that the success that Prime has is really, it's going to depend. I think he's got 2 years or so that for me personally, I wouldn't go and look at Colorado next year like, all right, it's on now, 8 wins, 9 wins. It's just not that simple. However, I was critical of the transfer portal. I remain critical of the transfer portal the way it's designed right now. But Colorado, if I was playing for Colorado right now, I'd be real concerned about how that Scully situation is looking.
Hey, because I was listening to shout out to HBCU Game Day. I keep up with them as well to try, because I still love HBCU sports. We all do.
I'm ready. We can flip to that next too, because I want to talk about the big picture of what this means for the HBCU.
Well, no, they said that his son was already looking at the facilities yesterday. Like they took him on a tour already. So your new quarterback has stepped in. So if you're John somebody, whoever, sitting there in the Colorado thinking like, oh man, I'm gonna get better next year. It's gonna be a new coach. I can rejuvenate myself. I can get back into it. And he shows up for his tour.
So my thing, right? Things changing for you there. My thing about it is, I'm really excited to see.
Somebody has jumped in. Matt Oates has said the current Cardinals already said he's going into the portal.
Hey, based on the quarterbacking in the state of Colorado right now, Deion's son might already be the best quarterback in the state, including Russell Wilson. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, so this one is from Chaz. He says, I think it's a way to get into the Power 5 door. He's taking Shador and Shiloh with him, and I'm 99% sure he's taking Travis and Kevin Coleman.
Oh, I mean, that makes all the sense. I think that definitely is what happens. I'm not upset about that. But, hey, judging the name of the title of the show, let's go to the other side. So, let's say that you are a hardcore SWAC, you hardcore Jackson State. You've become this cultural movement over the last couple of years with Deion down there doing what he's doing. What's the feel on that side of the gate, though, right now?
I mean, somebody's got to turn it up and continue with that. But at the same time, you feel somewhat sorry because they're not going to be able to replicate that.
So I remember growing up that Grambling just ran the show.
Yep.
Grambling was huge. Eddie Robinson, what he did out there and all the things that happened. You had some flashes in time.
And I want to put a pin in the Eddie Robinson thing, and I want to go to Doug Williams after you finish this point.
Well, I'm just going to go to Steve McNair, and you can go to Doug Williams right after that. So, you saw what Steve McNair was doing down there. I think Steve McNair was one of the people that got absolutely the most underrated and overlooked as far as how he should have been represented in both the NFL draft and in the Heisman Trophy. He should have won the Heisman Trophy the year that he was out there, at least had a real consideration for us. But they didn't take the school serious. And I still look now, and I look at the season that Jackson State had, and they go 11-0. They finish, 12-0. I'm sorry, and and they have a resounding finish to the year. But nobody still, when you look at, we still talking about what's going on with Michigan, what's going on with Georgia, what's going on with these other schools. So it still is a cap. Like Deion, in my mind, he's already beat that game. Like he's beat it. But here's the challenge to me is saying that the formula's there. You got other people that are starting to follow into that mold and starting to step in. You're seeing other ex-NFL guys that are there. Like Deion has left now. Do you put your support behind Eddie George at Tennessee State? Like, do you get behind who's doing the same thing in a way? Eddie made his bones at Ohio State, made his bones, and he really made his bones on the state of Tennessee with the Titans.
Yeah,
and what he's doing there now.
He's a pillar of that community in Nashville as well already.
In my mind, I feel like there's opportunities that for the culture, if you will, and I want to define that as well, to still shift that focus behind people if this is a movement you want to continue to see happening. It don't have to be tied to Deion. Deion is under no obligation to be the flag bearer for HBCU athletics as a whole and has to be the only person, because from the very beginning, Deion has been an exception to the rule. At one school that has become a sensation, has all these celebrities showing up to it and all of those type of things. Now, for me, I put the pressure to say, keep that same energy. Like if you believe in the movement and you believe it is there, why is it just focused at one school and one man? Keep that same energy and start lifting up all of them. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my call to action. If
we got the comments flying in from all Twitter, we got them everywhere, so I'm gonna start putting them up. Shout out to John Ashley. He says Notre Dame hasn't won since they had players named Skip Dakota and the field goal was on top of the end zone, and brothers couldn't play.
Hey, man, what did Ricky Waters and them do, man? Ricky Waters and them did a little something, didn't they?
Yeah. And then then we got your pops just jumps in. He says his son had a CU hat on during the tour.
Yeah, that's done. That might be low-key tampering, though, huh? No, he can do it. He can do it because that's his boy.
But it's one of those situations similar somewhat to Kwanzo Martin with East St. Louis High. His sister was a teacher there. So you can't really say it's tampering because I'm going to see my sister. He's my son. He
went to East Side, though, right?
He went to in Lincoln.
Well, that's right.
It's the same thing. But I'm just saying, now, it's not tampering when I can show up at any time because my sister's a teacher there. So it's like similar with Sedora, Someone on Twitter, someone has said, what about this that was heartfelt to me was the fact that he put so much into the fact that he was here for the HBCU kids and getting into the NFL.
Yeah, and he's doing it too. I mean, like, my thing about it is Deion's work don't have to end at Jackson State. Like, why are we writing the last rites for Jackson State? Like, that should be a program you sing the way now. Like, or there's also the other option of it too, is that Deion did that. Who's the next guy that can take a look and say, well, hell, I'll step in. You got the infrastructure there. If you somebody else that wants to get in the game and you want to do it that way, step in and keep it going.
Yeah, the assistant before, the assistant that was previously there, his next head coach is going to stay, I believe. And he said, like, hey, I'm going to keep it going.
Yeah, I think that's what it's all about to me. Like, listen, man, when you look at these schools and you look at what's happening, you look at the Michigans and the Georgias and the Alabamas and the USCs and all of that, they keep it going. You know what I mean? It don't stop. It keeps going. And that's just got to be what that energy is about.
So question from Eric E. Rich. What up, E. Rich? He says, question is, do they believe in the movement or just want to be part of the fame?
That's the question. That's what we're going to see. So
I'll push back on that question. Isn't that what everybody does, though, is be a part of the fame?
Yeah, man, very well could. I mean, no, I don't know. It depends on what you define it and how important it is for you to look at. For me, people that are at the university and the alumni and things like that, that's always one thing compared to the fans. Because Jackson State now is in the thing where they've got 4 layers of fans. They got the people that are there, the alumni. You know what I mean? You got that. You got the fans of Black college football that are going to be a fan of what it means in the big picture of things. But then you've also got the casuals. You got the casuals who are just following it now because it's the hot thing, that follow the hot thing around anything. But then you also, on the other side of that, you also have the people who are what it means on a cultural standpoint. Like, then that's where I want to focus. I want to take this thing from the people that are fans of the university and members of the team and all that. That's going to be what it's going to be. You're going to root for your school. That just is what it is. Mm-hmm. But for the culture, that's what really drove us to at least want to talk about this, because there's been a lot of different takes, and I don't agree with some of it, that especially the ones that paint it like looking at Deion like Deion is sold out by deciding to do something. Because again, he's under no obligation to have to spend his entire career at keeping Jackson State being at the level that it's at right now. And I think that that's a ridiculous way to look at it from the very beginning.
Yes, shout out to one of our YouTube listeners. He just says it's a money machine. I think he's talking about. Okay, here we go. He's got another comment for us. JSU paying $300,000. I'm going to Colorado for the $5 million. Shout out to B. Slaughter, the commissioner.
and that's easy math, and that makes sense to me. But you also got them people that standing on pomp and circumstances saying like, but that $300,000 mean more to the culture for you to be collecting that. Like, come on, man, get the hell out of here. Like, what is that? Like, you only make comments like that when it ain't you making the decision. like you only say things like that when it ain't you.
If I talk to you, I was like, man, I want to stay at this company, man. I love it, man. But Microsoft gonna pay me $500,000 a year. But I'm gonna stay making 90.
Yeah, I'm good.
Would you be upset with me? How mad would you be at me?
This 90 feels better because the CEO is black. Like, come on, man. Come on, y'all. Like, listen, it's like what I said about we want to see us all come up and do our thing. This is a hell of an opportunity for a black coach to raise up at a power university. But I think that we also are at a point where things are so polarized for some people, not all people, where it's if you supporting a PWI, you holding back the culture by not supporting the HBCU. And it's just not that simple. It's not cut and dry like that.
So shout out to Chaz. He says if JSU and HBUs want to raise their cachet, they need to partner with local businesses to think of all the revenue generated by the games, apparel, hotels, restaurants, etc. They should have kicked back some of that revenue to the football program directly. Maybe he wouldn't have left.
I think he'd have left no matter what, though, because I mean, it still is $5 million or whatever it is that he's taking away from the opportunity.
Shout out to B Slaughter. He said, "Tell JSU to start a GoFundMe."
Oh man, see that's all I want to do. See, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, and I don't want to make it be about the haves and the have-nots because it's not that simple situation. Listen, I understand why people feel good about seeing what's going on at Jackson State, and I love seeing what was happening. They were shaking the game up. People were making different decisions. They was going and doing it. But at the end of the day, what's going to be the legacy of it? Like, what's the legacy? Like, Deion started something, but it's other opportunities to continue it going, though. Like, Deion always was the exception the entire time he's been there. But what I don't want to go back to now is saying that the only thing that we got to look forward to for Black college football games is halftime. I'm worried about the 4 quarters. Like, so how do we keep the 4 quarters going strong and going well? And there's so much opportunity to do it, but it's just the nature of life. People that have success are going to look for greater opportunities to continue having it. And that just is what it is.
Yeah. And look, Jackson State's going to be, they're in a great situation. Like you said, if they keep it rolling, keep this going, this momentum, all the social media stuff that you built up, hire those people to get that branding up and keep pushing it. And you'll be at a higher level. So earlier, I think it was your dad. He said, I would love to, I'm going to put that on the screen. He said, I would love to see Ed Reed up next at FAMU or something. That'd be actually pretty. That'd be something. I mean, Papa Whitener, is Ed Reed how much hands-on is Ed Reed going to be able to be with these kids? If this was 1992, I think it'd be great. I can see Ed Reed getting fired for throwing a kid through a window.
God damn. Maybe. Who knows?
He's a rough guy. You know what I'm saying?
How about this? Call me crazy. How about we stop waiting on NFL superstars to drive these departments and we start looking at some dope black high school coaches and start really building up these programs and not have to just lean on somebody's celebrity in order to make these programs be something.
Darren Sunkett over at East St. Louis High.
I mean, in every part of the world, there's opportunity for that to happen. Every part of the country, I should say, there's somebody that can step up and do it. How about we not have to lean on celebrity to drive these programs, and we start to really invest in growing them up the right way and doing it that way? Because again, I don't need another Deion. I don't need every HBCU can't have a Deion Sanders. It can't be, fill in the blank NFL superstar got to do it. It's got to happen other ways too. And those are going to be the things that sustain. But the pressure comes on to tell these businesses, every business in the world has had we got a DEI initiative. We're going to do this, and that. And it's the hot thing to have. There's so many dollars out there that ain't even getting utilized in that space because we ain't applying for it or we ain't out there putting it all to work. So challenge people to keep that same energy. If you're going to have an initiative and if you're going to do this and do that, hey, put it into these HBCU athletic programs. Keep raising it up. I want to see basketball teams take off the same way because a basketball team, unlike where Jackson State was at, Jackson State was not going to go to the college football playoff, but a basketball team will get in the NCAA tournament and could really make some noise if you really start making it be that way. So
shout out to Norfolk State.
There's always I see what you're doing.
Well, no, hands up for me too, though.
but that's the second. That's come up 2 times in the last 2 days. I tell everybody, y'all gonna stop that.
And what was that big man for Norfolk State? He went pro off of that tournament run.
Yeah, had a good run too. I mean, hell, look at like Kenneth Fareed from Morehead State. What he did, like he made the whole thing go down like that. Like you can have these lower name guys in these programs. I would think that honestly, what football has done is one thing, but I think that basketball could be a really quick conduit to make it
an easier one.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's always a way though, man, and I just don't want for it to be looked at for Deion leaving.
Kevin O'Gwen. Shout out to it's Kevin O'Gwen. O'Quinn.
Yeah, Kyle O'Quinn. So I just don't want for Deion leaving to become a culture war and for it to be a thing where it would have been where now we're saying this is Deion's fault and Deion's betraying the culture and he gonna leave, so he not gonna get the same energy there. No, he's not going to get the same energy. But we also got to stop this thing. Like, the only place where you can have a black experience is at a black college too.
Ooh,
we can stop that. You can check that out. You can check that at the door. Because that's like saying
that's gonna be our final one as we write up. We got a comment here from E. Rich. He says, "Would JSU's team this year be Colorado's team this year?"
That's a great question. I don't know. But I mean, I do know that Utah covered a 30.5-point spread against Colorado. I think that Jackson State would have stayed within 30 of Utah. Let's put it that way.
Matt says Kyle is right. Shaking my head. He's definitely on the Troy O'Leary, Khalil Green All-Stars.
You've given me a show topic. You have given me a show topic.
Well, I do want to talk about it.
Shout out. And the only way you can shout him out in this day and age. Shout out to Brett.
Look,
shout out to Brett Lorenzo Favre. Brett Lorenzo Favre.
He said they broken his car and office already at Jackson State.
See, look at your cousins and them doing. Look at your cousins and them doing. So y'all gonna be bitter about it, huh?
Man, I mean, he took y'all. Look, he literally, and one of the things I wonder, and we can get into the coach thing. This is a sports question before we get into our last topic of the purveyor of blackness within a larger culture of it. If Jackson State did not have to play in the Celebration Bowl and could go to the playoff, do you think that would have maybe hampered and edged him a little bit more because he can't really get that shot? Think about Jackson State went to the divisional FCS playoffs and was able to shine there on a bigger stage instead of that. Would that have maybe sliced it off a little bit or do you think it wouldn't have mattered in this case?
Honestly, I don't really think it would have mattered. I mean, some of that breaks down into a question of the nomenclature versus reality, right? Mm-hmm. Like, is it right to say that these Power 5 universities, that's the stepping stone, that's the goal to get to? I don't know, man. I think that that's a little bit of an idealistic question, honestly, as opposed to just saying whether it's true or not. I mean, could you spend your whole career at a Jackson State or at a FAMU or at a Tennessee State or fill in the blank? You absolutely could. If you're truly in it and that's what you want to do. I think it's like somebody who's an extraordinarily successful high school coach, and they're just like, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. I don't need to go do it in college. I don't need to go do it there. Or even, a great Coach K. Everybody wanted to send Coach K to the NBA every year, and wanted to make it be a thing. Jim Harbaugh's name's coming up again for NFL jobs. It's like, you don't know what people want to do. And I think that Deion's made it clear that this is what's his next challenge for him. But there's no vibe about me where I look at Deion and I say, oh, Deion's a sellout. I mean, come on, man. That dude
somebody mentioned said he's a coon for this. But I'm going to throw up here this from Matt Oates again. He said, that's what I was wondering, Daryl. Not being able to get the FCS out of tradition might have hurt. Isn't that how Carson Wentz, Trey Lance got on the platform? Like, basically got out there in the game.
Yeah, real talk. I mean, I think North Dakota State is a great example of, of being a high riser at another level.
B Slaughter, I messaged hey, but he said that's like the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl. If Jackson State could win the FCS plus, I don't know, man. I would have loved to see it. I'm not gonna be honest. I don't know.
So you want Jackson State? You want Jackson State instead of TCU?
No. I think he's talking about the FCS playoff championship, not the. I think he's saying that's like the Detroit Lions winning the Super Bowl.
Gotcha.
That Jackson State wouldn't win the FCS playoffs.
Got you.
And okay. You can explain yourself if you.
No. I follow him. I follow what he's saying. I mean, yeah.
The culture thing, man. Like, I remember, if you remember a few months ago or so, there was some sisters out of USC that started a majorette team out there, and people were coming in on them saying like, no, you can't do that. You should have went to a black college if you wanted to do that. Like, and look, this is we're in a lose-lose situation. Let blackness be blackness.
Listen, that's like me sitting up here saying I pledged undergrad and saying if you wanted to pledge, you should have done it in college.
Oh, well, don't do that. Don't do
that. Go get it when you can get it, man. Like, I'm not finna sit here and tell you the terms of your life. I mean, everything ain't the same, but I mean, it ain't mean it's completely different either. Like, let's keep it all the way funky with that.
All right, man. We are just about getting wrap it up. Man, we got up to 15 people at one point here in the room on an impromptu live. Maybe you know what? Maybe let me reach out to we could continue this conversation, reach out to somebody that we know is high up in one of the HBCUs and get them to come on and give us maybe another perspective or give us something that we maybe not have thought about when it comes.
Let's take some sides with it, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm in the middle, but the side that I'm not on is we're not gonna demonize Deion Sanders. That's what we're not gonna do. He ain't nobody's sellout. He's not letting anybody down. If anything, he's gonna continue the platform and continue to do the things that are there, because if it's one thing about Prime keeps it real. And Prime taking the experience that he got at Jackson State forward and doing that, hell, you might see a whole new caliber of opportunity for black athletes out in the middle of in Boulder, Colorado. You never know. So, let's see what happens.
Oh, snap. Somebody on Twitter just said Deion is actually a genius. Colorado has all that marijuana money out there, NIL deals flying off the shelves. Hey, you don't necessarily have to promote. What if I got another brand outside of this, but I'm funneling the money over there? I'm just saying, but think about if you can put the NIL collective together. All of our universities have an NIL collective that's not associated with a brand, and you could throw $500,000 from your marijuana company into the brand for Colorado.
Hey, they got Luther Burden slinging them chips down here. Who knows if they can slang out there in Colorado doing it that way? Hey,
shout out to Luther Burden slinging them chips.
Hey, the chips fire though. Real talk, the chips is fire.
Well, Matt, let everybody know where. Man, this has been awesome here in this quick sports in there. We was only supposed to do 15 minutes, but y'all really came in, really engaging with them. We appreciate it so much.
Yeah, man, it's love, man. You know where I'm at, man. At Cheap Seat Fan on Instagram. You can find me in the SOLC Sports and Culture Group right here on Facebook. If you're not on Facebook, get over there, check it out. Next scenario, I'm going to say the next plight of why I left Twitter yet again. After I came back after a 2-year hiatus.
Damn,
we'll get back there.
Matt Ocean said, could you imagine how them chips were selling Boulder?
Hey, we just got Luther to stay. Don't give him no ideas now. Don't give him no ideas.
He did try to go to transfer portal, right?
Yeah. Let's stay funky with it, man. We good.
Well, thank y'all. Make y'all subscribe, like, all that good stuff. We're gonna try to do some of these again. This was fun, man. We for people to come in. It was impromptu. And we will see y'all soon. Peace.